going down.
The country I'm visiting today didn't exist 30 years ago. 25 years ago, it was the centre of one of the bloodiest war zones of recent times. Today, you can get there in under 3 hours on a direct flight from here at Luton Airport. I'm heading to Sarajevo, the capital city of Bosnia. Let's go check it out. I'm flying today with an airline called FlyBosnia. They operate the only direct flights between the UK and Bosnia and have only been flying to the UK for a couple of weeks. Luton was as busy as ever this morning, so I headed to one of the 2 priority pass lounges here, the newly opened club rooms. The club rooms offer a full table service with a good range of hot food and drinks, and like the Aspire lounge here, it's available on priority pass, albeit with a small premium of £10 to access the club rooms. Priority Pass gives you access to hundreds of airport lounges all around the world, regardless of which airline or class of travel you're travelling in, for a fixed annual fee. Check out the link in the description for a discount off an annual membership. My ride to Sarajevo today was this Airbus A319. It's the only one in FlyBosnia's fleet at the moment and is painted in this special livery to celebrate the European Youth Olympic Winter Festival, which was held in Sarajevo earlier this year. It was originally delivered new to Finnair in 2002 and went to Russia in 2012, where it flew for Donavia and Rossiya Airlines before going to FlyBosnia in 2018. It was time to board, which turned into a bit of a palaver.
Not many today then.
Did she give you another boarding pass at the check-in?
No.
Did you just come straight through?
Yes, I did.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
It turns out that even though FlyBosnia give you a boarding pass at online check-in, you're supposed to go to the check-in desk and get it swapped for another one.
Hey, yo, fly over here for me. I know it doesn't say on here to go to check-in, but basically because we have to put input everyone into a system the night before. So we put them in, because you're not turned up at the check-in desk.
Right, okay.
You're now no longer there. So
Okay.
bear with me.
Just get it back on. Yeah, no, we're just
They didn't come to check-in. But everyone today for some reason got a boarding pass. You know, normally they wouldn't. Yeah. Everyone somehow for this flight today got a boarding pass. Everyone else comes to check in. I've opened the acceptance. It won't let me do it now. I can't check them in.
FlyBosnia, departure to Sarajevo, flight number 106, final call. Now closing at gate 20.
4D.
Lovely, thank you. Cheers. Do I need my boarding pass still, or? Or then leave it at the plane?
Hold on.
Alright, cheers, thank you.
The boarding issue sorted, I headed down to the holding pen to wait for the flight to actually board. I had lost my window seat as part of the whole mix-up at boarding, but it didn't really matter in the end as there were just 16 people on today's flight. Added to the handful of passengers getting off the inbound aircraft, it leaves me a little bit worried about how profitable this route must be.
Hello, hi.
The seats on this aircraft are incredibly tight. This flight would have been really uncomfortable were it a bit busier.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. This is Captain speaking. My name is Eddie Dogic, with the First Officer Skaka Mustafa. Welcome aboard FlyBosnia flight London Luton to Sarajevo. Expected flight time is 2 hours and 10 minutes at a cruise altitude of 39,000 feet.
Luton may be a predominantly low-cost airport, but it's also a very busy business jet hub. My personal favourite today was this private Boeing 737, owned by the guy who owns Toyota's Saudi Arabian division. took off out of the gloom of Luton and emerged a few seconds later into a beautiful sunny day. Our route today took us southeast out of Luton, crossing Belgium, Germany and Austria, before commencing our descent over Croatia. Flight time today was 2 hours and 12 minutes at a cruising altitude of 39,000 feet. The first few rows of the FlyBosnia A319 are former convertible business class seats. You can turn them into a Euro business class seat by simply pressing a button under one of the centre armrests and pushing them together, then pulling the middle table down. You might not have the best seat pitch, but at least you have the extra seat width and a centre table so that you can at least pretend to have a business class seat. There was a drink service just after takeoff with just teas, coffee and water, and that was it. There isn't even buy on board FlyBosnia, so remember to take a sandwich with you. FlyBosnia have a route network of just 3 destinations to Luton, Rome and Riyadh. They serve each destination twice weekly. So we're about halfway into the flight now down to Sarajevo, and I have to say that so far this flight's all a little bit strange. The aircraft's like the Mary Celeste, there's barely anybody on board. I've not seen the crew at all apart from when they came around to hand out a cup of coffee. Since then the aircraft has just been deserted. It's all a little bit weird really, but never mind. Pretty enjoyable nonetheless. These seats are incredibly tight though, and it's quite lucky that there's nobody on board because the leg room is just terrible, and the seats really aren't comfortable. I can't imagine what it would be like on one of these if it were full, which I think FlyBosnia seem to be dreaming of at the moment. It's all a little bit worrying really for the airline because there's only 2 flights a week between the UK and Sarajevo. This is one of them, and if they can't even get more than 10% full on this flight, then it doesn't really say much about the state of the route going forward, unfortunately. In terms of the price of the flight so far as well, it's really expensive. The cheapest flights that they offer are €230, which is the flight that I've got, and at that price I would expect probably a little bit more than a cup of coffee on the flight. They're charging the same sort of price that a full-fare airline would traditionally charge on this route. And when you take into account that you can probably fly with Wizz Air to other airports in this sort of area, to Romania and places like that, you can pay a lot less for those flights. And I imagine if Wizz Air ever decided to operate flights to Sarajevo, they'd charge a lot less than that. But when you see how few people there are on the flight, it makes you wonder whether or not there's just not the demand there for this flight. All this left me wondering, is this flight empty because of the high price, or are the high prices because of the low demand? Perhaps there's just simply not enough demand at the moment for this route. FlyBosnia are already having some financial issues and have returned one of their 2 aircraft to the leasing company already. It's been reported that they owe the airport authorities at Sarajevo quite a lot of money, and they're looking at moving all of their flights to Mostar and providing a bus to Sarajevo to reduce the costs. So we started our descent down into Sarajevo, and I have to say I'm getting a little bit nervous now. The only thing I really know about Bosnia is what happened there those years ago, the terrible things that happened, so it's going to be interesting to see what it's like these days. It turned out I needn't have worried though. My mood was lifted the second we emerged from the clouds at this beautiful view over Bosnia. The approach into Sarajevo was incredibly bumpy. We had some quite big drops and steep banks as we crossed the hills towards the Bosnian capital.
and gentlemen, welcome to Sarajevo. Please remain on your seat fastened until the final stop of the aircraft and until fasten seatbelt signs have been switched off. It is now 1:20 p.m. local time, and the outside temperature is 18 degrees Celsius.
My flight to Sarajevo today cost me £198 or $256 US. This was for a distance of 1,028 miles, making a cost per mile of a whopping 19 pence. Overall, I wasn't that impressed with FlyBosnia. I thought the price was really expensive. Eurowings offer a similar length flight from Cologne to Sarajevo, which costs less than half of what FlyBosnia are charging, and they at least offer the option to have something to eat on board even if you have to pay for it.
Thank you.
The seat was incredibly uncomfortable too, and the service on board, well, let's just say it didn't exist. By way of comparison, my flight from Sarajevo back to Amsterdam with Air Serbia has cost me the same price but in business class. The economy fare was half of FlyBosnia's fare. It's hard to see who FlyBosnia are targeting with these flights. I'd imagine most of the traffic will be visiting friends or relatives, or holidaymakers. Either way, these prices are just crazy for such a short flight. At the moment it seems FlyBosnia are charging business class prices for not even a Wizz Air level of service, and it's hard to see how they'll survive in an increasingly tough Eastern European market.
Hey, how are you?
Hi. Welcome to Sarajevo.
Thank you.
I grabbed a ride into the centre of Sarajevo, which took us down a street that used to be rather ominously known as Sniper Alley. It's where, during the siege, snipers would hide on the rooftops, picking off anybody entering or leaving the city towards the airport. Here then in Sarajevo, the capital city of Bosnia. This place is really interesting to visit. 25 years ago, this was a city under siege. The Serbs were positioned on all these hills that you see around me and were raining mortar fire down on the citizens of Sarajevo for 4 years. Thousands of people were killed, loads more injured. But today, 25 years on, and life goes on. There were a couple of buildings as you were driving in. There was quite a few buildings where you saw all the mortar holes in the side of the building still after all these years, so still giving an indication of what happened here just a few years ago. But for the most part, this city is just absolutely stunning. Personally, I can see Sarajevo becoming more of a city break destination, and when it does, I expect airlines like Wizz Air to start operating on the route, which should bring the prices down as well. Let me know what you think to this video with FlyBosnia. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you'll consider coming to visit Sarajevo because it really is a beautiful place. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.